Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a video here for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Volume 3 called, or subtitled, Days of Fear, Nights of Anger. Now, Volume 1 of the series, as I mentioned in my last couple of videos about these that are a little spread out at this point, Volume 1 I thought was awesome. Volume 2 was a little bit of a step down quite a bit. Didn't really have the action-adventure stuff, and one of the biggest complaints I have in general with Star Wars as a franchise, especially under Disney, is I'm realizing more and more over the years, I haven't tried things like the X-Wing series of books or, like the Rebels TV show is really the beginning of me feeling this way. Star Wars is boring without Jedi and Sith fighting, or at least Jedi who are Jedi, like actually being Jedi, actively on an adventure, not hiding away or anything like that. Star Wars is boring if we don't have the Jedi or the Sith doing something. And I mean that. That's just my own opinion about it. This book and Volume 2 verify that for me. Even more. They just re-impact that. Even though I love the writer, John Jackson Miller, who I think has done incredible stuff, like the Kenobi novel, which should have been what the TV show should have absolutely adapted 100%, and it did not, to its shame. But the art here is done by Dustin Weaver, Brian Ching, and Harvey Talabao? Oh well. Sorry, buddy. Anyway, I really wanted to enjoy this book, and I will tell you currently I'm in Volume 4, I'm halfway through it. And Volume 4 has been really solid. It ain't great, but it's good. It's really good, matter of fact. Not as good as Volume 1, but it's good, It gets to some stuff that connects back more to Volume 1. But anyway, Volume 3, I hate the setup for it. I hate how long it takes to get us set up for the next book. If each of these volumes are 150 pages apiece, this is 150 pages leading up to something actually good in Volume 4, that from the get-go of Volume 4, it really takes off. This book, Volume 3, absolutely not. It's such a slow burn, dude, and it's so fucking boring, to be honest with you. So I guess we'll start up with Jerael and the old man with kind of the space Alzheimer's. Is that what we're dealing with here? They leave, and, Zane is kind of sad about that. Griff is even kind of sad about that. Because Zane has clearly some kind of feelings for Jerael, even though he probably shouldn't. Even if it's just a friendship thing, he clearly cares about her. Rollin has been gone, of course, from Volume 2. The Mandalorian, who had the awesome armor. And I was bummed about that. But, he comes back in here, which is kind of nice. And I like his motivations for coming back, too. Zane and Griff decide to go to a planet after they get a ship stolen by a guy that now thinks he owes them his life. And he's one of those, like, Bosk type of aliens, like the green guy from Empire. This alien gets on my nerves. I hope to God he is not going to stick around more and more and more. I fucking hate that alien. Anyway, Zane and Griff go out to a planet, and they have military men coming to this place. They opened up this ship because it was kind of like a restaurant ship, right? So they go and they're making money all day long. And Griff... the story in general focuses too much on this, about their fucking restaurant. It's like a space diner, but not like a Dexter Jetster diner that actually looks kind of cool and 1950s futuristic. Not like that. It's like a shithole open patio. Like, think of the third season of Power Rangers type of open Ernie juice bar. That's what it's like. And people pile up there. They claim it's the best food on the planet or whatever. If I'm telling you too much about the goddamn diner, it's because there's too much goddamn diner in this book, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's obnoxious. It gets in the way of the story. It should have been there for like one issue, and then we moved along, and it doesn't do that. It spends issue after issue on this thing, building up some kind of tension that doesn't really mean anything to me. There's a couple of really good moments with Zane that I really like. Zane is the reason I am reading this book at this current point. The drama surrounding Zane is pushed too far to the back of the burners on the fucking oven of the story. That's a weird analogy. Anyway, I'm going to move along. I really wanted to read more in this series about Zane. I understand it being Star Wars, we have a group of people together, and John Jackson Miller's a great writer. I think he could have done way more, way quicker than what he did with Volume 2 and Volume 3. If you think about it, Volume 2 and Volume 3 together are probably about a year's worth of Star Wars comics, probably about 12 issues together collectively. Even though you had the first 6 months in the first volume being really good, that's a year worth of comics that my ass would have dropped out so quickly because of how boring this book and Volume 2 kind of are. Even though this book sets up into good stuff in Volume 4, at the time of release, issue by issue, month to month, I wouldn't have known that. No one would have known that. It really got on my nerves, to be honest with you. This cover here looks like shit, the one that's the photo for the video. It looks like absolute shit. It really does. And that particular moment in the book is barely in here. It's here for like 2 pages, and that's it. And it's not really amounting to anything. It's actually a dream sequence, or a vision, possibly. It sucks. It is not a good book. I think this is worse than Volume 2, because at least Volume 2 had, like, the team together. Jarail was there, Roland was introduced, and he was badass. Zane was there, even though, again, like I said earlier in the review, Volume 2 and Volume 3 don't have enough about Jedi stuff in it, and I really get annoyed with that, because that is the reason I read Star Wars. That's what sets it apart from things like Star Trek and regular sci-fi. That's what makes it special, and in my opinion, when you take that away, when you take the Force, and specifically lightsabers away, and I know that sounds like a normie thing to say, but it's the truth in case you don't want to hear it, you need that there to make it fun, to make it worth the adventure. I just don't ever find myself interested in something that doesn't have a big focus on, lightsaber fights, Sith villains, or some kind of villain that could be dangerous, really dangerous to a Jedi, with a Jedi character dealing with those things. I need that to be involved in Star Wars, especially with movies and shows, and there's not enough of that either, but that's another argument for another day to have. This book is bad. Not a fan of it. It takes too long to set up for Volume 4. I don't think that's something that's really truly fair to the audience. I don't care how much people defend it in the trade paperback community. This book, or maybe this story arc in general between this and Volume 4, are a phenomenal example of how arcs should be released, or how American comics should have a long time ago switched over to the manga side of doing things, where you had Volume 1, and then so on and so on. That's what you did. And I think that's a good idea, personally. I think most American comic readers believe that, matter of fact. But this would have really saved that a lot. But if you had to read month to month, I would not be surprised if you blew your brains out or you quit the series, or both, I mean, I guess it would have to be both, right? If you did one, specifically the one with the gun. Anyway, Knights of the Old Republic Volume 3, rough book. Really rough one for me, despite my love for John Jackson Miller as a creator and a writer. The art is not that great in this book in general. It feels like every volume since Volume 1 has gotten worse and worse on art. Volume 4 has gotten a little bit better, but not by much. It may even be the same artists. I don't know. I haven't checked. But at least it's slightly better than what it was. Anyway, expect a review on Volume 4 sometime soon. For now, Knights of the Old Republic Volume 3 was fucking bad, dude. But you have to read it to understand what's going on in Volume 4. I don't know if I would say this was worth sitting through for Volume 4, but Volume 4 was good nonetheless. So maybe, maybe not. Anyway, have you read Volume 3? What do you think about it? What do you think about the Knights of the Old Republic comics in general? I'd love to hear everything you have to say about all of that down below. And what do you think about my premise about Star Wars is boring without Jedi involved, or Sith involved, or heavy use of them? One or the other, or both. I don't care which one. Anyway, let me know all that down below. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.